Hey, welcome everybody and happy Thanksgiving. It is 7 o'clock on Wednesday night. That means it's time for Sci-Fi Distilled. Welcome, Mary Beth, as
Hello,
always.
hello.
And
How are you?
we have kind of a fun show. I'm good, thank you. We have a. Are you ready for tomorrow?
I'm
You and
so ready for
you and
tomorrow.
mom? You going to mom's? I take it.
Go to mom's. Yep. Gonna eat food tomorrow and for the next 4 days, probably.
I've been eating like crap already this whole week. Just kind of carried over from last weekend. So I figured I'm just gonna hold it right through the weekend and start.
Just keep
all of it,
rolling through.
all of it. It's too late now. So we got kind of a fun show. We're doing as I said, the not so good, the bad, and the ugly of TV shows and movies, that things that we just think are really bad. There are tons of lists out there for worst sci-fi movies and TV shows. We're only going to scratch the surface, I'm sure.
Oh
And so,
yes.
guys, please put in.
Oh, is that me
Sorry,
writing
sorry, I don't know. I must have hit the
that?
button by accident. Sorry about that. Whoopsie.
He's screaming because I had pulled it up on the other channel and I thought,
Yeah. No, that was me. So anyway, yeah, we're just gonna scratch the surface. So, guys, in the comments, please feel free to
yes,
post
I
what
want
you
to hear
think,
all your
whether you agree with
comments.
us or disagree with, or you have your own opinion on another thing. So, hey, welcome, Jeff. Nice to see you, Martin. Hey, Bill. Nice to meet you, by the way, this weekend. Bill was up
Hey,
inside.
Dr.
Hey,
Alexander,
Dr.
how's it
Alexander has got away from
going?
Mission Control for a few minutes. Hey, nice to hope the
Yeah.
mission is going well.
Or
Looks
he's
like it is.
subjecting all of Mission Control to
Yeah,
us.
right. I hope he's got us
I
on the
hope
big
not.
screen. We're on the big screen in
I
Houston
hope
right
not. You know that thing, our banner usually says your IQ is now lower. Don't do that to them,
Don't
Doc.
do that one. Okay, because
Don't do that one.
they need
I
to.
do I do
Right.
have a little bit of news. Shall I fly? I
Yeah,
just have
yeah.
a little bit.
Let's do the news, and then of course
Let
we'll
me
do the
drink.
drink, and we'll go from there.
I don't have much. I will say on it is Thanksgiving, and I should express my personal gratitude. First of all, we had a fantastic weekend at the Star Trek Set Tour this weekend. So my gratitude to all my friends who came out and hung out with us, and my gratitude to Rizzo. Rizzo, I got no clue. This whole thing, Sci-Fi Distilled, was your idea. I have no clue why you have dragged me along for the ride, but damn, it's been fun. So thank you, Rizzo.
Oh, you're welcome. I mean, I don't think I could do it alone. That's for sure. So
All right. So in the news, sci-fi writer and Comic-Con co-founder Greg Bear has passed. He wrote Darwin's Radio. I almost mentioned Darwin's Radio the night we did the books, but he also did. You guys, you know him, but you don't know him. He contributed to like Foundation series once it got going. He did the Foundation series. He did a Star Trek novel. He did a Star Wars novel. You know him. You just don't know that you know him. The second half of Rick and Morty season 6 has dropped or is dropping, I guess. And showrunner says we can expect nods back to season 3 and season 4 and an unexpected cameo. Bryce Dallas Howard has already directed a bunch of Star Wars for Disney, and now, according to the latest intel, she's about to lead a reboot of one of the studio's longest running sci-fi franchises. Okay, I have to disagree with that particular description of this, but she's about to help reboot the Witch Mountain series. Do you guys remember the Witch Mountain series?
that was an old Disney film from
Do
the
you remember
70s.
Escape to Witch Mountain,
Escape from Witch Mountain. Yeah.
1975? Roy, write that one down. Escape to Witch Mountain. And then more recently, it was in 2009.
Escape to or from? I guess it was two.
There was a bunch of them. There was like 4 or 5 of
Yeah,
them.
yeah, there were some. Yeah, I remember them. I don't think I ever saw any of them, but I do remember them
No,
advertised.
it was kids. Yeah, I don't
Yeah, it
remember.
was kids
And
stuff.
then
Oh, I was a kid in 1975.
well, yeah.
I was like 7.
In 2009, they did Race to Witch Mountain with The Rock. But
So
yeah, I
they're
don't know,
gonna
man. I mean,
they're going to reboot that series with.
yeah,
Bryce
they're gonna
Howard.
reboot that. Does it need to be rebooted? I don't know. Whatever. Moving on. The series finale of Walking Dead finally arrived on AMC this past Sunday. Woo! Oh
Yay,
no,
it's finally dead. It's not walking
it's
anymore.
not dead yet. There is another spinoff coming. Daryl's headed to France for his own spinoff. Oh, this is possible spinoff. Spoilers, kids. I don't know. Negan and Maggie are going to team up for an adventure in New York, and perhaps the most exciting plans for the Walking Dead universe. It's a universe now, guys. Are those evolving around Rick and Michonne? So whatever. I'm not a Walking Dead person, so I don't know. And then finally tonight, so we're going to be talking about the worst. We did books. We talked about the worst movies. We should have reviewed this a while back. And let us know, you guys, if you want us to do a show just on one of these particular subsections here. So we're going to do a little literary, little sci-fi, like a little classroom experience here. We're going to talk about the 9 types of sci-fi plots or combinations thereof. So, and I'll fly through this. 1, human versus technology. That's stuff like Frankenstein and The Matrix. 2, robots. That's every freaking robot movie you've ever seen. Robots, iRobot. 3, time travel. Bill and Ted. The Lake House. Any one of a number of Star Trek
Hot
shows.
Tub Time Machine.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Which was on the list as bad movies, but I would say that movie's not that bad.
I almost put it on my list.
I have it on my list. It's actually a fun movie. Now, I don't know. There's a sequel I haven't seen, but the original one.
No, it is a sequel, isn't it?
No.
Those guys had gotten together to do something else in some other movie.
Yeah, but they did. There was 2 Hot Tub Time Machine movies, but the first one I saw, I didn't see the second one, but the first one had some merit just from a humor standpoint, which is what it was. It was comedy. It was supposed to be funny.
Interesting. All right, whatever.
Anyway, moving on.
Number 4, apocalypse or post-apocalypse. That's The Road. I Am Legend. Seeking Your Friend for the End of the World. There's a million of them. You know them. Number 5, dystopia. Don't get it confused with apocalypse. It's not quite the same. 1984, Hunger Games. Number 5, space travel. That's everything ever. The Martian, Hitchhiker's Guide, Star Trek, Star Wars, all of it. Number 7, Alien Invaders, War of the Worlds. Anything where the aliens come and kick our butts. That's it. Like Signs. Number 8. Now, here's the one that is a little bit more rare. Stranger in a Strange Land. Usually it's the human being the stranger in the strange land, but sometimes it's the alien being the so like E.T. is kind of but it's also Alien Invasion, Gulliver's Travels, John Carter of Mars, and finally number 9, space opera, Star Wars, Dune. If there's any one of those categories that you would like us to take a deeper look at, raise your hand and let us know. We would love to explore any of them. They're all pretty fun. And that's all I have for news tonight. What do we have to drink?
We have for drink. Let me get the drink up here. Hang on. Let me get my slide. There we are. It is pumpkin pie mule. Now, I love a good Moscow mule. So this one's kind of basically based on obviously a Moscow mule. And so we got lime, half a lime or lime wedge. Basically, you're looking at the juice. Heaping teaspoon of pumpkin butter or spice. I'm not really sure what pumpkin butter is.
I don't know. I go with the spice. Pumpkin
spice, I think you
like
get in
ginger, nutmeg,
and ginger beer, which is standard for a mule, and vanilla vodka, or you could substitute whipped cream vodka, which are all available.
Yeah, guys, everyone freaks out over pumpkin spice. Pumpkin spice is like ginger, nutmeg, and cinnamon. That's all it is.
That's all it is.
It's yummy. It's delicious.
It's good for the right time of year, but then you get sick of it.
And then you get sick of it. Yeah.
So,
which is going to happen in 3, 2, 1.
That's up on the Facebook page if you want to write that down and give it a shot tomorrow. It sounds like a pretty.
If I have not seen that Andor finale yet, don't spoil it. I put my fingers in
my that dropping tonight? That's gonna drop.
No, that dropped. I think.
Was it last week?
Yeah,
because I saw last week's. Was that the last?
It's out. I want to see it.
It was the one that was on last week. I already thought. I didn't know that was the finale.
My dog just freaked out when I did that. Sometimes I gobble at Thanksgiving.
Careful, my dogs are going nuts. They'll think there's actually because I get a lot of wild turkeys in the yard.
They come through here too.
Not the whiskey kind. The actual wild.
Oh, Starman! You mean Chris LaRoche? Starman, Stranger in a Strange Land. Excellent example.
Starman would definitely
good for you, Chris.
Starman would be a good example. Yes, nice to see you this weekend. By the way, Chris.
It was good to see you, Chris.
You made it home safe, sir. So okay, so getting into we have lists. I think we both have lists.
Oh, I have lists. I have 10 movies.
These are in no particular
and alternates, guys.
Yeah, these are in no particular order, and we're just going to ramble. And I think we had a couple of duplicates.
Do you want to just do all the movies first and then switch the TV shows? Or you just want to mix it all up?
Yeah, mix it all up.
Mix it all up. Okay.
Mix it all up. It's a Thanksgiving smorgasbord.
It's a Thanksgiving smorgasbord. You're gonna get gravy on your mashed and your beans and your stuffing.
You're one of those people that has to have those plates with the little pockets in it.
No, it's all mixed in.
Shame on you.
It's all mixed in. Hey guys, let us know what you're grateful for. What in science fiction are you grateful for? Is it dystopian? Is it Stranger in a Strange Land? Is it alien invasion? I personally love Alien Invasion.
Well, and they all have their merit.
They all have their merit.
So, all right. So, what do you give me your?
Well, you
Again,
just want me to
mine
just-
aren't in any particular order of like worst to worst or anything like that.
All right, I'm gonna hit you up with a bad movie. Are you ready? Here we go. The Happening. Marky Mark. I guess this is sci-fi. Maybe
I
it's
didn't see
actually
this
not.
one, so I can't comment on it.
Oh,
But go ahead.
guys, just so you know, I chose stuff that I'd actually seen.
Yeah, absolutely. Same here. Anything on my list I've seen
I know
at least once.
everyone says Battlefield Earth is horrible.
It is bad.
I've never seen Battlefield.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. It's on my
The
list.
Happening. You guys remember this one? It's Marky Mark and the trees decide to just attack us, and they do it by just the wind blows and there's something in the air, and it makes you want to suicide. And people who are like mowing their lawn suddenly lay down in front of their lawnmowers and let the lawnmower like it was the stupidest.
Wow, it sounds like
outside running.
And this is like you see that pitch.
breeze.
It sounds like a good idea for that pitch meeting.
What are you? It was bad. Do you guys remember this movie?
I don't. I never saw it, but it sounds horrible.
So, it was horrible. Don't go watch it. Just don't. Yeah, Dennis Hodgson also said Howard the Duck, and it is on my list.
Yeah, Howard the Duck.
I might not get to
the Duck. Almost starts to move into the so bad it's become a cult classic kind of thing. I don't know. It's kind of like because Plan 9 from Outer Space is not on my list because it is so bad and has always been considered
it's a cult
worst film of all time. It's so bad it's good. I mean, it's just you got to watch it because it's actually rewatchable because it's so bad.
Chris, I'm not familiar with the non-sci-fi happening. All right, Rizzo, what do you got?
So, of course, this one, and I bitched about this before, so I'm going to kick it off with Netflix. This is a current Netflix's Another Life. This is a TV series. And actually got a second season, which just floored me because the first season was so bad, in my opinion. Now, maybe it was made for like millennial Gen Zs. I don't know. Maybe I'm just getting old and crusty. But the sad thing is it stars Katie Sackhoff, who I love. Loves Katie Sackhoff. But the premise of the movie, I think what irritated me, the idea of the show wasn't bad. It was the execution and the cast and the writing for the cast. Again, I'm not picking on any particular actor, but basically at one point during the show, aliens like land these ships on Earth, and then things are going to go bad, and then we're going to go to their planet or wherever they from. I can't even remember. It was like I'm blocking it out because it was so bad. But the point is somehow instantly, and this takes place in relatively modern times or near future, we all of a sudden have FTL. Like we can go across, we can go interstellar travel like no problem. So they put this ship together. Katie Sackhoff is one of the commanders, and she plays kind of a more serious, role. But her crew is made up of like whiny teenagers that nobody wears. There's no uniform. So this is like a military, our first sojourn into interstellar space, and everybody's wearing like jeans and crop tops. And it's like the most weirdest thing you'll ever see.
Because those who protect you should.
Yeah, it's just like they didn't even have like a uniform.
Number of space issues.
And they're all like just bickering and whiny to each other. And it was just like a big teenage high school interstellar trip. It was just bad. Don't watch it. I actually watched the whole series. I binge watched it over a weekend because it was like watching a train wreck. It was so bad. And then I find out that it got a second season on Netflix, and I want to, that gets a second season. Cowboy Bebop does not. Hello, right? Netflix.
Right?
It's a clue.
Right?
Yeah, it was so bad. So that's all. If you go by, I mean, if you really want to watch it, go and watch it, but it's terrible.
I believe you. I'm not going to go watch it. All right, I'll do it. I'll bounce down to my TV list now. I'll bounce back and forth between TVs and I got a lot of good.
That was the only TV show I had. I'm sure there's plenty of bad ones.
I've got 10 unlucky TV shows, more than 10. I've got a bunch of unlucky TV shows here. Let's just roll with, do you guys remember Terra Nova? It had Terry Quinn in it.
I never saw it. That was a TV show, correct?
It was a TV show. It was where the future is getting dystopic. One of our 9 categories there. Things are getting not dystopic. I think apocalyptic. It's getting bad. And they decide, hey, you know what? We got a time machine. Let's go back into like dinosaur times and colonize and live. And they go back and they're fighting dinosaurs. And it was one of those TV shows that I have some on my list. They got canceled after one season, so you never really know what happens. You're like, I don't know. They lived, they died. Who knows? Who cares? It was so bad. Terra Nova. Does anybody?
I do remember being advertised. I never actually saw it.
It was bad. They did have these cool vehicles, but other than that, it was a mess. Hi, Captain Phil. How are you?
Captain Phil says passengers. Phil must have a really issue with passengers because that's like.
Was that with Chris Pratt and Jennifer Lawrence?
Yes. When they're on the interstellar trip,
he wakes her up because she knew. Yeah.
It wasn't a great movie.
Hi, Bill. Hey, Bill, it was good to see you this past weekend. Yeah, Terrible Nova. It was bad.
Yeah, it wasn't. It wasn't great.
All right, what do you got, Rizzo?
Visually, though, it was good. Passengers, I thought they did good.
Yeah, Passengers looked okay.
Visually, it looked very good. But yeah, the story was kind of weak.
Yeah.
So of course, I did have Battlefield Earth. I'm ashamed to say I paid to see this in the theater in $2,099, whatever it was.
Has universally panned. Everyone hates it.
It's just bad. It was. I remember. I very rarely leave a movie and go, "That was the worst thing I've ever seen," and this was one of them. It was clearly, it was an L. Ron Hubbard, so it's Scientology kind of messaging. The basic plot is that Earth is taken over by these aliens, and we're all enslaved and. It's just, you guys have all seen it. I don't need to go into detail on Battlefield Earth. It was a big tank, and John Travolta really, I think, it hurt his career there for a little while. He was kind of on an upward swing until he did that movie, and pretty sure he just did it because he's big in the Scientology.
Yeah, I think so.
Thing, which is just kind of scary.
I think so.
I really don't understand why a lot of these actors are a part of that, but Tom Cruise as well.
All right, I'm bouncing back to my movie list. I'm going to roll with, something to choose from. I'm going to roll with Jupiter Ascending. Some of you may disagree. Do you guys remember this thing, Jupiter Ascending?
I saw that in the theater, too. That's with
Channing Tatum and Mila Kunis.
Kunis, yeah.
I watched it at home. I fell asleep.
It's not a great movie.
It could have been.
It's not the worst thing I've seen.
It wasn't the best thing.
Visually, it was done very well.
I remember it was a visual spectacle. I remember that.
The story was a little too not complicated, but the story was a little too out there for it to be condensed into the one film.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. To me, it wasn't the worst thing I've ever seen.
Bill didn't like the lead actors.
No, Bill, I never read the books of Battlefield Earth.
For me to fall asleep during sci-fi, we were supposed to be doing
you mentioned that because I've mentioned on the show recently. There's a show on Netflix called Dark, and it is a German-produced film, so it's dubbed in English, or you can watch it in subtitles if you want. You have your choice. And it's I kind of call it the dark version of Stranger Things. It doesn't have any humor in it, which I don't know. Germans, I guess, just don't have a sense of humor. But it's a time travel based show. It's based on a book called A Journey Through Time, which is a real book. But the problem with it is it's the way, and it must be a cultural, the way they do it. Their acting, first of all, I think is over the top. I mean, for whatever's happening to them, they're overreacting kind of, but maybe that's just like a culture thing. But there's these long drawn out pauses where they're just staring at each other and it's just kind of this music in the background. And even my wife will say, this is better than taking a sleeping pill. We could start watching it at 7, and then she was like, we have to watch. We have one more season. It was like we have to watch the other season.
Just so we can get our sleep tonight.
We're totally invested in this show now, so we have to finish it. But both of us, it'll be 7 o'clock, and both of them be
in your chairs.
What happened? It's nothing happens. But anyway, I'm sorry, I digress. But it was just reminding me think of it because it was when you said you're falling asleep because it's that show. Don't start watching it if you're. I mean, I think it's a good story, and it's a little hard to follow at times. But I think if it was tightened up, it would be a lot better.
Yeah. So, Jeff is mentioning a movie In Time with Jeff. Is that the one with Justin Timberlake? And you could give each other time, and if you ran out of time, you died. But you could give someone minutes he was trying to give his mom, and everyone looks impossibly young because you lived forever because you just kept getting time from other. Is that the one, Chris? Jeff Rubel? I think so.
Oh no,
I don't remember it being. Yeah, Jeff
Sue
says
is
yeah.
saying. Sue is saying. So the Indiana Jones Temple of Doom was not good. I'm going to disagree on
I disagree with that, Sue.
It's not the best of the 3 or 4, I should say, but it's not a bad movie. I think it gets a bad rap in my opinion.
All right, what did I just? I just did a movie. Let me do a TV show. I'm gonna go. Do you guys remember this TV show, Christian Slater? And I love Christian Slater. I love him. The name of the show was My Own Worst Enemy. The gag, and it kind of got good reviews, but I never got the show. The gag, the conceit of the show, the gist of the show was he was a sleeper agent, literally. Like they literally could turn him on and off. And when they turned the sleeper agent, like this kick-ass killer spy off, he was just a regular dad, like suburban dad doing stupid suburban dad shit. And then they turn him on and he'd be like this cold-blooded killer. And I'd be like, you can't, like there were plot holes big enough to drive a truck through. It just didn't work. And yet I would watch that thing every week. It didn't even last a season. Did it last a whole season? I don't think it lasted a season. Christian was awesome because he's awesome at every single thing he does. But oh my God. And Alfre Woodard was in it, and James Cromwell as his handlers. Oh my God. It was such a writing train wreck. Do you guys remember that show?
No? I don't remember it at all. I have no recollection of that at all. Isn't that funny?
That's all right.
So you missed nothing. We're on TV shows. We had both talked about. I think we both have this one on our list, which was Heroes.
Yeah, I have Heroes on my list.
I thought Heroes was dumb right out of the gate with the promotional bit of "Save the cheerleader, save the world."
It didn't work. And then they're off on that. And then Zachary Quinto
was so popular, but it was so popular for the first season. Remember, it was like everybody loved it, and I'm like, this show's terrible. And then it just went spiraling down.
And the best thing about the show was Hero and his buddy Ando, who was James Kyson, and they would run around doing. And I liked them, but the rest of it was a hot mess. And then we started getting away from the superpower. Like, oh, it was a mess. It was Phil. Hero snatched.
I'm sorry, it started stupid right out of the gate.
Tim Kring, and you know what? He hasn't done much else, has he? Have we seen Tim Kring around? Not really.
Yeah, Cleopatra 2033.
Martin. Was it Cleopatra 2525 or Cleopatra
2033? I guess. Yeah. It's just. I mean, honestly, we know there's tons of stuff out there. You keep posting them because you're right. None of these are really wrong. I will disagree with a couple.
We can't disagree with
Wonderland. That's another one. That was the one with
the contemporary stuff. But if you know some of the Roy era stuff that you want to add,
I have one on there. I have one on there of the Roy.
Go for it.
There's a lot of stuff that's terrible from the 50s that were,
All right,
what I just watched.
What else you got, Rizzo?
Well, I'm sorry, Dave Lafredi, if you're watching, but Highlander 2,
that was on yes.
And that was on, I looked at some lists, and that was on like almost every single list, right up there with Battlefield Earth as worst sci-fi films. And that one, where Dave thinks that sword fights on flying surfboards are a good thing. I think that was a bad thing. So sorry, Dave, but yeah, it's not good. And it was a terrible, I don't know what they were thinking, the studio, with that, as Dennis would say, we ignore it. We don't speak of it.
Dr. Alexander just mentioned Valerian. Yeah. You know what, Doc?
That's on the list. Now, again, Valerian done visually very well.
Visually, and you know who it is? It's Luc Besson, who did Fifth Element. I love Fifth Element.
Fifth Element is amazing.
Fifth Element is my jam. Why couldn't they get Valerian to go that way?
I think the biggest problem with Valerian is that it being a French/European comic, and the United States audience had no reference to it. Yeah, I had never even heard of it, and they talk, oh well, this is what Star Wars there's always that thing that Star Wars came from that and whatever. And the problem is that they market this movie in the United States to a crowd that's never heard of. They have no history. So if we were like a big fan of the comic, it might have been better and made more sense. But those of us were going, what the hell am I watching?
Yeah.
So yeah, again, visually good, interesting movie, done well, story. And I think the fact, to me, the two main characters were like too young for what they were supposed
Yeah,
to be doing.
yeah, that
You know what I'm
I
saying? They're like
agree.
teenagers
They
and
were
they're like these
way too
super
young for
agents
what
or
they were supposed
something.
to
It
be
didn't
doing.
didn't
Yeah.
really fit to me, but maybe that's because, again, old crusty guy.
Chris LaRoche is saying Highlander 2, no. Bill Sotak is saying Escape from LA. Yeah, people love Escape from New York. Escape from LA somehow.
It's like, it's again more of the same. So if you didn't really like, I mean, I don't know.
Phil
It's
said
not
he
nearly as good as the original. Let's put it that
yeah,
way.
no, it's not as good. Phil said he might have confused Valerian Jupiter Ascending. They both had the same visual look to, like they both had the same kind of feel to
Feel
them.
to it. Yeah, I will agree with that. They kind of
Yeah,
have the
Liz,
same feel to it.
Sharknado. That's on my
I've
list.
never seen a Sharknado, but isn't the whole
Sharknado.
point of Sharknado is the stupidity is what makes it good? Like
Chris,
the sheer absurdity of the movie.
yeah. Sue is saying Magnolia. I don't know Magnolia, but I remember Cloud Atlas was being really convoluted and artless. But I liked Cloud Atlas. I got what they were doing. I was okay with that.
Like
Yeah.
Martin
See,
saying they're
there's
thinking of rebooting Escape from New
Battle
York. No,
Beyond
there's
the
no reason to
Stars,
reboot that movie. Battle Beyond the Stars with John Boy. Yeah.
Slipstream. Martin, I
You
don't.
know, I liked Battle Beyond the Stars when I first saw it because I was a kid. And it was a
See. I
space
like
movie.
Sue.
But
I like
yeah, it's there's like a whole genre where they just reuse all that stock footage of space battles. Because there's a couple of movies that all have the same spaceships in the same scenes.
Yeah, that's true. All
And
right,
they
what did I
just
just do? I just did a TV show. Let me do a movie here. Let me look at my list. We already did Valerian. We already did Highlander 2. Oh, I could do John Carter of Mars. I could do Moonfall. Let's do John Carter of Mars. That's another one of the movies based on a book. And I think we talked about it briefly on book night.
That's
Great book.
actually Doug Drexler really likes that movie.
He does. Why? It's a
It's
disaster.
just visually it's interesting, and I don't
Yeah,
know.
I guess it's visually interesting, but
It's slow though. I don't think it doesn't move along well enough. It's just
I
not. It's
think it
not
moved
paced
faster
right.
than yeah, it just didn't
It's just not
translate. It just
paced
didn't
right. I wouldn't say that
yeah.
it's necessarily a slow movie. It's just the pacing is off.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where probably if they re-edit it into a different like they always talk about how Star Wars was saved in the edit. If you saw the original edit, it was horrible. The
Yeah.
movie wasn't any good.
That should be required watching for all sci-fi to still view. We should put that link on the Facebook page because that is a great video. That
That
little
is
Star
really
Wars saved in the edit. Martin's talking about Nell. Nell, is that the one Jodie Foster? I love that movie. There's nothing wrong with Nell.
I
It's
don't
not
know.
sci-fi.
I'm not
Martin,
familiar with Nell. Yeah.
but
Tom Cruise was Magnolia.
all right, what else you
I
got,
don't know.
Rizzo?
I don't know Magnolia. I didn't see that one.
God, you guys have some great examples in the
Street
chat.
Ship
You
made
guys
a
are on
female
fire
anatomy. I don't know
tonight.
what Doc Alexander. Which one are we talking about there, Doc?
I think Slipstream.
Slipstream didn't see that one.
Neither did I.
So that's right.
Magnolia,
Yeah. So all right, moving on. All right, so is it my turn?
Yeah. Yeah.
So I haven't. This is an oldie that I just watched, and that's why it's on my list over the weekend. I was just trying to kill some time. It's called Planet of the Vampires. It's from 1965, and it is. I believe it's Italian, so it's dubbed into English. I think because just judging by the people's names, but it's kind of along that genre of the 50s, but it's made in the 60s, and it's just bad because there's no vampires actually in the film.
Right, and yet it's called.
And it's just like you're like, what is going on with this movie? You don't even really get it. It's like they're not very clear at what's happening, and maybe it's a translation problem. But yeah, just skip it. If you see it, it's on actually Amazon Prime for free, and there's a reason it's for free. Just skip.
Sue, Another Earth. She said I wanted Another Earth of Will Smith to be great, but it was only so. Yeah. It was.
Yeah, that's been on a few lists too. That I never saw it, so I don't.
Yeah, I guess Ray.
That was the one with his son.
Yeah, it was the one with
his
his
back to a Earth after it had been like vacated or something.
All right, let me pull up my list here. I think I'm back to TV shows, and I'm gonna do Manimal. Do you guys remember Manimal? Do you remember? It was like
I do remember the TV show Manimal.
He would turn into an animal. Had really cheesy. We were just talking about Galaxina this weekend because I was just canvassing.
Roy and Ross did Planet of the Vampires. So
yeah,
you go. Yeah, that's definitely in Roy's type of area. So I don't know I didn't see that episode, Martin. So I don't know what Roy had to say about it.
Yeah.
Um,
Martin's
I'm-
mentioning Galaxina. I'm talking Manimal.
yeah,
Phil
Galaxina. There was only one reason to watch that film, and we all know what it was.
It was like the Barbarella of the modern day.
Yeah, it was. It was for
Which
what
is also another movie on my list, Barbed Wire, what that tried to be. Barbed Wire, remember Barbed Wire with Pam Anderson?
Pamela Anderson, yeah.
Bad movie. One quick glimpse of her nudity. She's getting out of the tub and putting the robe on. She's nude for like half a nanosecond. Most pause moment of that film.
Which is ridiculous because she was like in
naked everywhere else.
Yeah.
You didn't need the movie to see her naked. You could just.
Right. There's plenty of other places to see her naked. You need to see her naked in that movie.
Ursula Andress was in Manimal. Was she? I believe you, Chris.
She must have been older that by then because that was what, 80s?
Yeah, it was 80 something.
It was 80s, so yeah, she must not. Yeah.
They tried real hard to do good effects. It just didn't.
Well,
I was young. See, I was young and dumb. I didn't.
There was kind of a series of bad TV shows.
I thought I was watching good TV.
Barton Cherry 2000. Yeah, I remember that one. Again, wasn't that really just another reason for kind of softcore?
Yeah.
Maybe
here's sci-fi, but really it's naked women.
It's naked women, yeah.
Phil, you don't like Logan's Run?
Logan's Run.
I'm going to give a shout out. There's a bunch of movies that were really good movies that made horrible TV shows. Logan's Run is one. RoboCop, Flash Gordon, Alien Nation, although Rizzo argues with me.
I don't think Alien Nation TV show was that bad.
And Total Recall. They tried to make TV shows out of all of those, and they all bombed.
Yep.
The American. Why? Okay, let's take a moment. Why is there an American version of The Office? Why was there an American version of Inhuman? No, not Inhuman. What was the one where they were all ghosts and spirits and vampires and crap? Whatever.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, what was it?
Why do they keep making American versions?
Being Human, I think, wasn't it?
Being human.
Now, I watched both. I watched both actually of that, and they were almost identical.
Yeah, and I thought the British one was better.
The British, if the original one is British, it's usually that's how it is. The British, although The Office was pretty good on both sides. So
there's so many things that Brits do that we redo. We don't need to redo. We tried to redo AbFab. No point in that. No point. It's already done. It's in the right language.
And with
the actors have already been paid. Just take it.
With the world being so small, with the internet and everything, culturally, we're starting to, especially with the Western countries, we're starting to see more of a merger in cultures to some degree. So there's no reason to remake. In fact, I usually enjoy the British TV shows as much, if not more, in a lot of ways than American-made TV shows, just because I think their humor is a little fun. I like their manners.
Phil saying American version of Max Headroom. I thought Max. Well, I don't remember that there.
I don't remember there being a British version of Max.
I do enjoy Max though, and Bill saying the American version. Oh, All in the Family. Yeah, All in the Family was done at a time though when there were social issues that were different. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't know what's going on with the EastEnders. Like, I have no freaking idea. But I got what was going on All in the Family. Like, I understood that. You know, that kind of a thing. No. Deep Sea Quest. We love Deep Sea Quest.
No, we don't. I don't.
I do.
Sequest stunk.
Sequest was awesome. We did it on this show.
Wrong.
I loved Sequest.
Oh my god, it was so bad.
Didn't we do it? We did it on this show. I know we did.
I think we did it as a segment type show where we had other things from the 90s.
Whatever.
No, it was bad. Come on, they had this.
All right, what did I just do?
The dolphin.
Did I just do a show or a movie? I don't remember.
It doesn't matter. I think, is it my turn?
No, I did Manimal. It's your turn.
Yeah. So I have. This is kind of universally hated. Also, is Waterworld. Kevin Costner.
Yeah.
Affectionately called Fish Tar.
He tried to make this sweeping epic.
If you've ever seen this film, it's just bad. It basically the idea is that the polar ice caps have completely melted.
Yeah.
And the world is flooded, and there's basically no land anywhere. Everybody lives on water, but they still have gasoline for ships for stuff. It's kind of dumb. It's a lot dumb. And of course, he's looking for dry land. It becomes this kind of quest movie. And there's one, like, I guess it must be like Mount Everest or something still sticking up out of the water.
Yeah, it's like the one little bit of land.
Yeah, it's like one little bit of land that people are going to live on. And it's just, it's just bad. Yeah, can't get. You're right. Can't get 3 hours of your back from that. There you go. Yeah, it's too long. It's not good. They put a ton of money into it, which is there was a film called Ishtar, which fell. That's why they call this one Fishtar, because it was very
Dustin
expensive.
Hoffman, yeah.
Yeah, it was very, very expensive to make, and it totally tanked. And that's what this one fell into the same formula where it was a very expensive film to make, and it tanked. So
Waterworld, the world is ended with an ample supply of cigarettes and bourbon. I don't remember them smoking, but yes, where were they growing tobacco?
Yeah, it's like exactly. It's like everything was flooded. So where were you saving this stuff? Even
where was your agriculture?
Although he was
maybe
like
the hydroponics were.
The other thing that was weird was he was like a mutant, like he could swim underwater, like breathe underwater.
Didn't he have like?
Yeah, he had like gills and stuff. So he'd like go down into the old cities underwater and go collect things from the old earth, so to speak. It was just
trinkets.
It was bad. So Waterworld is on my list of stinkers.
All right, I'm doing another movie, Moonfall, with Halle Berry.
That's the one that just came out like last year.
It just came out. This is a new one. Don't even bother. Oh my God, was it bad?
I saw the trailers for it. It looked dumb just because it looked like a disaster movie.
It was a disaster movie, but it was like worse than any other disaster movie you've ever seen. Like 2012 was better than that. Or
2012 was up there.
It froze. We all froze. The disaster movie, the environmental one.
Yeah, I know.
Whatever. They were all so much better. Moonfall was basically, it could have been Space 1999 if they'd taken it the right way, but no. Moonfall was basically the moon is hollow and there's bad things inside gonna come get us, and we're gonna, I don't know what it was a hot mess. Oh, it was a hot mess.
The Day After Tomorrow. Yeah, that's.
Thank you. The Day After Tomorrow.
Yeah.
No, The Day After Tomorrow was the nuclear holocaust one.
That's what I thought. Maybe it had the same name.
Yeah. I'm talking about the environmental disaster one.
Yeah, the one where the whole world.
And they're in the library and they're burning tax law.
Yeah. It was frozen. I remember I saw
the kid's waiting for his dad to come get him.
I did see that movie.
I don't remember that. Whatever. You get
it's something like that, though. I think Martin, it's not right. He's close.
Moonfall was just bad. The way the lines were delivered were bad. The plot was bad. The writing was bad. The editing was bad. The way they structured the movie was bad. Everything about this thing was.
You're thinking of the movie called The Day After.
Oh.
He's right. The one The Day After Tomorrow.
The Day After is nuclear holocaust.
The Day After. I remember that.
The one they warned us
about. Speaking of that, just a sidebar, I remember seeing that on television. It was like late 70s, early 80s.
Early 80s.
And I remember seeing that as a kid, and it frightened the hell out of me.
Mm-hmm. They sent warnings home in our school, like to our parents. Don't let your children, this is going to be airing on TV.
Apparently, my parents missed that. I want to say I was in high school, though. So it must have been the 80s.
No, you're older than me, so maybe. I was in...
Here, let me find out. Because now I got to find out.
Or Threads. Maybe I'm thinking of Threads. Threads was the other nuclear holocaust one. Do you guys remember that one? Day After Tomorrow and Threads both came out at the same time.
Day After Tomorrow was 1983. So yeah, I was high school.
I was 12.
Still scared the crap out of me, though.
Woo! All right, moving on. What else you got on your list? Now that
I got this is another universally accepted stinker. Is Galactica 1980.
Oh God, yes, absolutely.
In fact, I remember watching. It was an interview, I think, with I want to say Harlan Ellison and some of the other, because Harlan Ellison was involved in the original Galactica, and I remember him and a couple other people were talking. They were talking about this, and they're like, "Yeah, the writers of and the producers of that show, we don't talk about it." Like they knew it was so bad, and it was clearly that's what happens when you let the network dictate. Okay, you're spending too much money, because Battlestar Galactica, the TV show, the 78, 79 version, was very expensive to make. It was a very, very expensive TV show to make, and I'm sure they were not making back. Especially in those days, which you broadcast television, you don't have they weren't making it back, I'm sure. So they said you can continue another season, but you got to make the Earth base because it's cheaper. You don't have all these space sets and space scenes to do. So it showed it was terrible. The only thing I think that was mildly interesting were the flying motorcycles.
Yeah, it was a mess. It was a mess.
It was. I mean, I don't know anybody that says, "Oh no, you really should rewatch that series." It has merit. No, it doesn't.
All right, I'm back to my TV show list. I'm gonna pick
Phil that I saw. It was Ellison had something. It was maybe he was just commenting on it.
Yeah, they all contributed and wrote for all that stuff.
I don't know
that David
Gerald. I could be wrong, but anyway, like I said, I want to say it was pretty sure it was him.
Not Migo. I have something on here that they were all writing for. Anyway, off my list, I'm gonna pull Automan. Do you guys remember Automan? It was like remember Tron and how Tron looked. Imagine you took a little Tron guy out and somehow got him into the real world and he became a cop or a detective or some shit. And they're running around doing whatever the hell they're doing. That was Automan. And he was always with that blue, kind of neon blue. Like he always looked like.
Yes, I remember that show. I never watched it, but I do remember it.
You were wise. Don't bother with it now.
Yeah, a lot of times I didn't. Yeah, cop. Yeah, I always don't like the sci-fi cop combination.
Manimal was that way. Manimal was a cop or
generally don't work for me. Although again, I did like Alien Nation. I thought that, and that was kind of a cop alien show.
Powers of Matthew Starr is on my alternatives list. I've got a bunch of them on my. Oh, that's the show. The Powers of Matthew Starr. I think David Gerald wrote for that. I think Harlan Ellison wrote for that. A bunch of them all. Oh no. Chekhov wrote for that. Walter wrote it, and Leonard Nimoy directed some. That's what it was about the Powers of Matthew Starr.
Don't know that one either. So what was your next one? I
just did Automan. So
Automan was your other thing.
Yeah.
So jumping back to movies, I have Wing Commander.
Wing Commander.
I think the story would have been okay. I think the struggle was the acting, and I think the badness was Freddie Prinze Jr. was just put in the lead role, and if you've ever seen it, it was a movie based on a video game of the same name. Wing Commander was very popular in the 90s, computer space battle game, and they turned it into this into a film, which it wasn't great. It kind of was all over the place, and I think the weakness was Freddie Prinze Jr. and his acting. It was just not. It was very forced, and I think that's why it just didn't do well. It could have done well, but
we were talking before the show started. You guys, Freddie Prinze Jr. If you're thinking about him, also don't bother with any of his Scooby-Doo
movies. Well, I mean, really, Scooby-Doo was a cartoon. There's no reason to make a live action version.
There's no reason to make a live action Scooby-Doo. Particularly one as bad as those. All right, because
that's like when they was a couple years ago they made the Emoji movie. Like, what is Hollywood thinking? You want to just go up to them and go in the head. What are you thinking? Stupid thing on your phone. Why are you making a movie out of that?
You do a movie out of that. Put your phone down for crying out loud.
It's like
Doom. Jeff, is that a movie? I don't remember.
Yeah, Doom. Well, Doom was a video game, obviously very popular.
Doom's a
really
video
the beginning of the first-person shooters. But I believe it starred The Rock there, Dwayne Johnson.
Maybe it did.
I believe it did. And again, it was kind of a long. Now, they were, I think, going on the same thing because you had the other series with Joe Vovovich there. Not Evil Dead. Resident Evil. So that was Resident Evil was a video game. They made a movie. The movies did well. They've had six Resident Evil movies now. And they even have
really good with that one.
They even have a Resident Evil TV show on Netflix now, which is actually pretty good.
So we talked about Halo. We talked about War Machine, War Gear.
Yeah. But it didn't. Yeah. Doom was, I think, trying to jump on that same kind of Resident Evil bandwagon, but it wasn't good.
Phil, what are you saying, Phil? No.
Actually, really like the action Scooby-Doo. See, Phil, this is why we don't have you on the show anymore, Phil, because
honey, no, those are bad, sweetie.
Yeah, Phil, come on now.
Step away. Just
Phil,
step
stop
away.
drinking. He's a
The
guy.
only
He's
thing good about
already
those
got into the
is
Thanksgiving
Elmo.
cocktails a little early or something, I think.
All right, moving on. Because someone mentioned the Powers of Matthew Star, I'm going to offer you a bundled pair for TV. Are you ready? The bundled pair of two really bad TV were Small Wonder and Out of This World. Do you guys remember? They're both sitcoms.
Yes,
So
I
just
remember.
think, like,
I remember Small
great-
Wonder. I don't.
Small Wonder
know.
was she was a robot.
Right, I remember that.
Out of This World was Dad was an alien, and she would talk to him through a little glowing box or McGuffin. She would talk to him, and the theme song is "Would You Like to Swing on a Star?" Those were like just think it was just like any other 80s horrible 80s sitcom. So think Family Matters.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, they were terrible. They tried to make it. Yeah, it was like
it was just
like Alf. You know, it was Alf.
like
so
Alf.
popular,
Alf should be on the list. Alf was
terrible.
horrible.
No, Alf was definitely going to be. So you know,
horrible.
yeah, it's just Phil didn't like Ready Player One.
What? I loved Ready. What?
It was good. I wouldn't say it was a great movie, but it was entertaining. Yeah.
Ready Player One was
Phil.
fun.
Phil doesn't like anything unless it was Last Starfighter.
What was the Last Starfighter? That's it. What was the other? Not Ready Player One. The other
Misfits of Science. That was a kid show, wasn't it, Chris? I want to say, or maybe I'm thinking of something else. I thought that was maybe. No, I'm thinking of a different show.
The Lego movie was fun. I like
the
Lego
movie was just not.
The
Lego movie could have been better if it was more geared for adults, which I know it's not supposed to be, but I think they had an opportunity there to make it better than it was. But it was, you know, if you hear that stupid song one more time, you're running to kill somebody.
Everything is awesome.
Super.
Everything is awesome.
Whatever it was, yeah. Yeah, no, it was.
Everything is cool.
It was
You're part of the.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was bad.
Everything is awesome.
Yeah. So, all right. So, is it what you just did? What
now? I just did the twofer of Small Wonder and.
Oh, right. So I have I have mostly movies.
Phil.
Well, I put on Sphere, which we talked about.
Thelma is hotter, Phil. Thelma is hotter. Okay. Sphere, yes. Tell us why you hate Sphere.
Well, I hate Sphere because it was a good book that they ruined into a movie, and we talked about this a couple weeks ago on the book show. I think the biggest problem with it was poor choice, poor casting. Not that the actors were individually bad actors, because Dustin Hoffman, as we know, is phenomenal. But it just. Maybe it was that a combination of that and the directing and the story and the screenplay. It just didn't have the same.
Which is too bad because Michael Crichton stuff is usually
pretty good. Awesome. I mean, it's usually pretty good, and it's just don't know. It was just not good, so don't watch it.
Just disappointment. All right,
I highly recommend you go out and get the book and read it.
Let me get back to my movie list. I think I feel like I'm pulling cards, like I'm playing cards. I'm going to play the Howard the Duck card because you guys, if you guys all heard Dennis's story, Dennis, can I repeat your story? Dennis Hudson, I'm going to repeat it. You're not here to give me permission, but Dennis Hudson and his then girlfriend at the time went and saw it in the theater and thought it was the funniest thing they'd ever seen in their whole lives. They thought it was fabulous. So flash forward sometime later when this thing finally comes out, like at Blockbuster, and they rent the cassette, and they're telling their friends, "Oh, you gotta see this movie, it's so funny!" And they put it in and they watch it, and they're like,
"What the hell?
What did we just watch?"
Maybe they were stoned when they saw it the first time.
That's what I asked him. I'm like, "Were you guys high?" And he's like, "Nope."
Everything's usually funnier if you're high. You think
funnier when you've had a little something.
Probably wasn't. It probably wasn't. So yeah, I only saw that. I think I saw it once, like a million years ago, and I don't even remember that much. Only thing I do remember is I love the fact that they stuck him in Guardians of the Galaxy.
Yes.
I love the fact
that as much Howard as I
did it. They made him look exactly like he did in the movie.
Hi, Dennis. He says it was awful.
It was awful.
And there was the thing that is like he falls in love with Leah. That's her name. She was in Back to the Future, and she now directs Star Trek episodes.
Yeah. Oh, Chris,
what's her name?
Saying Saturn V, Kirk Douglas. Yeah,
Yeah,
that was not a good movie. It had potential, but
narcotic-induced
Farrah
coma.
Fawcett and Kirk Douglas.
Thompson. Thank you, Martin. Thank you,
So
Dennis Thompson. Yeah, Leah Thompson. So how would that work? A duck and a girl. Like, how would that work? That's
I don't know. I don't know much about duck anatomy, so
well, what little I do
they
still.
must,
I'm still
they must
asking.
have they
Well,
must
that
have some way of reproducing.
Well, they do, obviously.
They lay eggs, but I don't
Moving
know.
on.
I don't know about the fertilization part, and we're just not that kind of show.
No, we're not. We don't
So we're
care.
not going
Moving
into that.
on.
I don't think that's the point.
I think we all agree. Howard the Duck. Don't bother with it.
All right. So, and the last one I actually have on my list is a movie called Mission to Mars with Gary Sinise, and there's actually a bunch of people in it. Really good cast. Terrible movie. I believe it was Brian De Palma that directed it, and it was about going, our man's first trip to Mars, but of course we find alien technology there, and it's not that it developed there, but it's like aliens that like left something on Mars
That's
for
something
us.
there. Yeah.
And it was just bad, and it was
Here's
not
the
good.
thing.
And I'm ashamed. Sorry that I actually paid money to see it.
Here's the thing, Hollywood. You have to stop just because the other studio is doing a movie about Mars. You don't also need to do a movie. Do something else. Do
Yeah,
a love
because
story.
right. We were talking about in the
Do
same
something
year.
about the Middle Ages.
Yeah,
you don't
almost
have to also do a Mars
right.
story.
At the same time, Red Planet came out with Val Kilmer and Carrie-Anne Moss, and it was not a great movie, but it was a much better movie. It's like they did the same thing. Remember when Tombstone came out?
Yep.
And then the other studio came out with Wyatt Earp at like the exact same time.
Yep.
And
Bugs Life and a Bug Story.
Tombstone kicks ass.
They do it.
One of my favorite westerns of all time.
Yes.
And the other one was a horrible piece.
It was a disaster. They do it all the time. Hollywood cannot leave well enough alone. If one studio is doing a show, they have to do the similar. That's so stupid. There's no.
I don't know why it is. It's like they get.
All it does is they muddy their own waters. And now when we do shows like this,
because think about it, we always
remember which one was which.
We get asteroid hitting Earth,
and in Deep Impact.
Well, I'm just saying we get those. We get Deep Impact, and then we had what was it, Apocalypse? No, what was the one with Bruce Willis? The one where they got to blow up the thing.
We just talked about the other day. Asteroid. No. The hell?
No.
You guys know. You guys know which
Armageddon.
one. Armageddon. Thank you.
So we had those come out around the same. It's like they always come out in like 2s and 3s. Like we get the same genre of film.
So weird.
I don't understand it. Somebody explain to me that theory in Hollywood. Why they all do the same thing around the same time? I don't know. They're all trying to get a corner of the market. So,
Can't do it. All right. It's my turn. I'm back to my TV list. We already did Galactica. Okay. All right. I could do Revolution. I could do Jericho. That was pretty bad. I'm gonna do Under the Dome. Do you guys remember Under the Dome? It was another one of these movies.
That was an NBC show, I believe.
I think so. It wasn't a goof or weird. It wasn't funny. It was a serious, like some reason a big honking dome comes down around this town. And it's this whole thing of why are they in the dome and who's outside the dome, who's in the dome. I don't remember what the whole point of the dome was. Maybe I should have done Jericho. You guys remember Jericho? We're on the eastern plain of Colorado and like Denver gets nuked. And so everything's shut, everything's down. Like the whole thing is like, wow, why did we get nuked? What happened? Oh my God.
Who was the star of that?
He has a funky name. Hang on, I'll tell you. Skeeter, no. Skeet Ulrich.
No, not the one I'm thinking of.
Hang on. Was it Skeet? Hang on.
No, it was somebody. I thought it was one of the guys from 90210.
No,
wasn't there something with one of those guys from 90210?
No, but Joe McRaney was in it as like this.
I'm thinking of a different movie, TV show. So anyway, I think this one was in.
Oh.
So.
Yeah, Chris, they did. Under the Dome did make it to, but it was just yes. Jeff remembers Revolution, which also has my. Okay, we're going to talk about Elizabeth Mitchell really quick. Right?
Revolution was the one with everything shut down. There's no
power, and we don't know why. And they're running around trying to restore the power. And we need to talk for a hot minute about Elizabeth.
Yeah, Bill, that was the Simpson plot. You're right.
Yeah, it was the Simpson plot. Yes,
the Simpsons, the movie plot.
Revolution, and then when it flashed the title card, the R would flicker. So sometimes it said Evolution and sometimes it said Revolution, and you never knew what was going on. It had Elizabeth Mitchell. We need to talk about her. She was in V, she was in The Expanse, she was in Lost, she was in this thing. She's around. You know her. She's affectionately, I hope it's affectionately, I really don't know, known on places like Reddit and other dark holes of the internet as like the angel of death. When you see her crop up in a TV show, you know the TV show is about ready to be done. Because when she cropped up on Lost, show was getting ready to end. When she cropped up on The Expanse, show getting ready to end. When she crops up in whatever, they put Elizabeth Mitchell in, show's getting ready to end.
The Expanse for it was already slated to only go so many seasons and then end.
Yeah, I guess.
So it wasn't that.
She was in Boston Legal, show getting ready to house, show getting ready to end. Like whatever's going on with poor Elizabeth. I like her. I like her a lot. Oh,
yeah. So
The Good Doctor, The Expanse, she's around. You would know Elizabeth if you saw her.
So my last kind of, it's a series of movies, and I have a feeling I'm going to get some pushback on this one. But pretty much Star Wars Episodes 7, 8, and 9.
Not a Rey fan.
Basically, The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, Skywalker, whatever the hell. Just
no. Doc, bring back The Expanse. I agree.
I love The Expanse. Yes, I agree. Yeah, the Star Wars. Now, I'm not talking about some of the, like Rogue One was great. I'm talking about Episode 7, 8, and 9 with the whole First Order nonsense. Just what in the hell were they thinking, Disney, with that? And again, it was our good friend, J.J. Abrams that produced those. So he's kind of the harbinger of death for a franchise.
Really
hey, let's bring him in for Star Trek. I hate Star Trek, so I'm going to direct, and ruin that franchise. I love Star Wars. Let me get on that one and ruin that franchise.
Oh, JJ.
So,
all right, I'm just going to throw out some random movies. I'm not going to talk about them. I'm just going to throw them out. Blindness. You remember that? It had Sandra Oh. Splice. That's where we got, that had the great review where we learned the phrase jaw plus floor forever. Sharknado, Elizabeth, your Elizabeth already mentioned it. Final Fantasy Spirit, whatever. Adventures of Pluto Nash, Barbed Wire, I talked about After Earth. Artemis Fowl should have been good, was horrible. Dark Tower, Last Witch Hunter, Bird Box, all horrible, horrible shows. What's going on over on the TV side? I mentioned Sense8, OA, Tech War. Tech War should have been better. Space Precinct. Kids, what's the difference between Earth Final Conflict and Earth 2? Does anybody know?
Wasn't Earth? No, Earth 2. Wasn't Earth 2 the one where they,
or After Earth? Maybe
they go to the planet and they leave Earth. They go to this other planet, and then there's like other. That was the one with Clancy, wasn't it? Clancy was in it. And
well, that's Carnival. Oh, maybe.
No, I'm not talking about Carnival. I know he's in a ton of stuff. I mean.
Sorry, I had
was a TV show on ABC, I think it was. And like there's the kid that he can't live in the sterile environment anymore or something. Like the mother has to take him to this planet. Isn't that Earth 2?
Yeah.
And it has, what's his name? Tim Curry's in it.
Yeah.
Tim Curry's kind of plays a bad guy, sort of.
Yeah. That was Earth 2.
Yeah, I think that was Earth 2. Yeah, see, Martin saying Earth 2 had Tim Curry. Yeah, so that's the difference. The other one you mentioned was like an alien thing.
Oh, maybe, yeah. Guys, it's all blur. It all blurs into one big giant. Like, if you're gonna be a show writer, guys, if any of you become Hollywood famous, make your thing really, really distinct.
And somebody explained to me why you always have to copy what the other studio's doing.
And special, so I can remember it 30 years later when I'm doing a show on it.
Right. Yeah. So. Wow, it's already 8 o'clock already, and
8 o'clock.
I know we had a lot more, and there's a lot of stinkers out there. We didn't go through. I tried to stay with stuff that I'd actually seen, like you.
I did too.
I could at least talk about it somewhat intelligently.
I did too.
Somewhat intelligently.
And even at that,
is that even
like Andromeda? I don't know. The one with Kevin Sorbo, they hate that one.
Oh, well, there's several shows with Kevin Sorbo that aren't.
Yeah, terrible. Earth 2 was just 6 episodes. I thought you were gonna say 6 seasons. Yeah, Clancy Brown and Tim Curry. Yeah, guys, it's all a blur. Yeah. All right, what do we got coming up here? Roy is
Roy
doing
got
chitty
going
chitty
on.
bang 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 chitty
Yeah,
chitty bang
Chitty Chitty
bang.
Bang Bang. I guess that's kind of sci-fi. A little
I
sci-fi.
guess the car flies. I mean, you know.
Yeah, I mean, the problem with Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is it's way too long.
Mm.
Um,
I love.
It was
I
a good
love
movie as a kid. It was
Disney
one of those
movies,
ones.
but that one tanked.
That was a movie, and it gets a good time of year because that was some kind of a holiday movie because it always seemed to be on around this time of year, and you'd always watch it
I
like
love
in the
Mary
afternoon.
Poppins. I
Yeah,
love
it's kind of along the line. Of course,
Van
it's
Dyke
got Dick
as
Van
the
Dyke.
chimney
There's a
sweep.
lot of singing, toot sweet,
I love
whatever.
Supercalifragilistic, but for some reason, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, I did not love you, Chitty Chitty Bang Bang. I don't know why.
It was
And
a
then
flying
that's
car that
Friday.
also floated. It's like made a boat. It was cool.
Yeah, and it floated. That's Friday. And then on Sunday, he's going to be on with Captain Phil. No, Captain Phil's going to be on his show. And they're going to talk about the space 1999 episode Ring Around the Moon, which featured the music of guitarist Vic Elms. That's what Roy is up to. What is Phil up to? Oh, he's filling in Thanksgiving night from 8 to 10 on the Global Rhythm Show. I'll put in some requests there, Phil, if you want to do some prog rock. And then he's going to run.
You'll be in your turkey coma.
He'll be in a turkey coma. And next week he's going to run the Amanda Lee Falkenberg. She is the classic symphonist who created a whole symphony about the moons, all the moons of our solar system, Io, Europa, our moon, all of them out there. So that's going to be on Thursday, December 1st. So check those out. They make great background noise. And what do we have?
I don't know. What do we have next week?
Look at my calendar. Let's look. I wrote, let's say the 23rd. Next week's the 30th. Oh, I wrote Time Bandits with 4 question marks. Do you want to do
Time Bandits? Y'all want us to do Time Bandits?
And then the 1st of December, actually not the 1st, the 7th of December, we'll do the whole Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, we're going to do the Planet of the Apes series. So, yeah, that should be a good one. So, yeah.
I need the time.
Time Bandits is a good one. It's pure evil. Don't touch it. It's pure evil.
All right, guys.
I have to rewatch that, but that was a good movie.
As you all sink into your food comas, remember there's some folks out there who don't get any. Maybe take a moment to give some.
Phil likes something. He likes Time Bandits.
Food. Oh, good. Good, Phil. You come on and talk about.
Finally like something other than The Last Starfighter. And
guys, take a moment to give a donation to your local food pantry or soup kitchen or whatever you got at this time of year.
Good idea. Excellent idea. So yeah, I hope everybody stays safe. If you're traveling, you probably already traveled, I think, but if you're traveling tomorrow, please try to stay safe. Luckily, the weather, at least here in the Northeast, is supposed to be good. I don't
Happy
know
Thanksgiving
the rest of the world, but
all of you.
Yes. So again, we're all thankful. We're thankful for you guys who actually come and watch us every week.
Yes, we're
still don't know why you do it.
All 6
we
of
appreciate you. And of course, Mary Beth, I am very thankful for you because I would not be able to put this show together without your help. So because nobody wants to hear me talk for an hour, that's for sure. So,
you never know. Depends on what you're talking about. I mean,
I don't know. I definitely have to drink more.
We should both do this show slightly more inebriated.
So, all right, guys. We'll see you next week. Have a good holiday. Stay safe. Don't go crazy on Black Friday. Don't be knocking old ladies down. It's not worth it.
People need their day off. Don't kill them.
Need their day off. So we'll see you. And that's it. I guess have a good one.
Bye, guys.
Night, folks. Live long and prosper. Okay, we're done.
We're not done.
It's spinning.
We're still on.
We're still on.
We are.
We're still on. Don't say anything stupid. Why?